How's it going, Modern Manual Therapy viewers? Dr. E here, on location at Briarwood Wellness Center. And something I want to talk about today is taking your spinal extension for granted. So whether it's your lumbar extension or your cervical extension, I mean, it's not too much thoracic extension, it doesn't really backward bend that much, mostly for rotation. People take it for granted, and they often work under flexion, they work under toe touch, and they're pretty much texting and driving and writing and whatever it is all day. So most people don't have a lack of cervical flexion, but they do have a lack of, in particular, retraction and extension. So one of my favorite exercises to kind of help with both lumbar extension and cervical retraction and extension is the kneeling kettlebell plank. Isometrically, this just helps kind of prime your core, plus it fires the posterior chain, and in particular in the lumbar spine, because you're pushing down behind you, it also helps to start loading the lumbar spine. So if anyone has in particularly difficult time doing a press up, they come up like this, or they do a press up and it looks more like a plank and they can't let their hips sag, or you check retraction and extension and it looks like that, and honestly that's what mine looks like now. A kneeling kettlebell plank is one of my favorite loading strategies to kind of get that back. So you go into tall kneel, make sure you're stacked. Am I pretty stacked? Okay. And I'm just going to hold a decent amount of weight behind me, not too heavy, not too light, but just right. And I'm going to push down. So I'm driving down, kind of activating my core. And I'm going to hold this for maybe about 20 to 30 seconds. The whole time I'm actually pushing down. So I'm activating my lats, my mid and lower trap. And I can feel my anterior chain kind of coming on, because this is one, it's as if I'm getting pushed backwards. So many times when you're done with that, the press up will feel much more free and full, and your hips can kind of have that expected kind of ½ inch or so to an inch from the ASIS to the floor. And then if I check my retraction and extension, it feels a lot better. No manual therapy needed. So that's one of the things, you know, when I talk about taking extension for granted, imagine if you flex your elbow to end range, often like people do to their lumbar spine and their cervical spine all day. And I'm not saying posture is related to pain, because we all know, at least if you follow and read the right studies like pain science studies, that posture does not predict pain. Poor posture does not predict pain, and correcting posture isn't necessarily a way to alleviate pain, even though it does in many cases. What I'm saying is that if you looked at your neck and your lumbar spine like you do your elbow, if you flex this thousands of times a day, you wouldn't be happy with having full elbow flexion. But say like, oh, you know what, my elbows only extend to here, you know. Flex my knees thousands of times a day, but my knees and my elbows, they kind of only extend to here, so I have to walk around like this. If you looked at your other joint extension, like how many people say like, oh yeah, I can touch my chin to my chest, but you know, my forehead doesn't come anywhere near to parallel. Or, yeah, I've been working on my toe touch so I could deadlift safely or squat safely, but when I try a prone press up, it looks like this. For some reason, people forget that you are supposed to extend. And, you know, looking at it like any other motion, like why would you just settle for, yeah, full external rotation, and I'm happy with my poor internal rotation. Assuming you can get it back, you can get it back rapidly. If you get it back rapidly, you just have to do the right things to keep it. So the tall kneeling kettlebell plank is one of my favorite ways to restore cervical and lumbar extension. It kind of primes it, ready to load, and that's one of my favorite warm-ups before I lift. So if you like this video, make sure to comment, subscribe via email so you don't miss any of our awesome blog updates and exclusive Edge Mobility System discounts. Check MMT out on social media, modmt.com/Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. I hope to see you at an Eclectic Approach course soon, and you have a great day.